Hey everyone, this is Zypha here, welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be quite information packed. If you guys are not aware, obviously the new chapter Tools of Torment is set to release on March 7th, and so far we've got quite a bit of insight into what that chapter will be like. We have been introduced to two new survivors, a killer, the perks of the killer and survivors, and also a few map tweaks and other fixes here and there. We also did get the new trailer which dropped about 2 or 3 hours ago as I'm recording this, but we're going to be covering all of that in this video. Unfortunately, I do not have access to the PTB as I am an Xbox player, so all of this information will be taken from the Dead by Daylight website, as well as obviously the Dead by Daylight YouTube channel, and some videos from a channel called 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪𝓵. So obviously credit goes to him if I use any of his clips, and credit goes to all the sources I use. I will link everything that I used in the description below. So first and foremost, we have the new trailer which just dropped. We did actually get a teaser trailer, I think a day or two prior to this, so going into this I was actually expecting quite different things, but then we obviously got the official trailer just a few hours ago as I'm recording this, which I will be playing for you guys, and then I'll be giving some commentary, I guess, like, you know, my personal thoughts and opinions afterwards. So yeah, we're just gonna show the trailer without further hesitation. So yeah, it looks pretty damn interesting, and I know interesting is probably my most favorite word on this channel. I tend to use it quite a lot, but honestly, I don't know, when I went into this, when I first saw the Tools of Torment title, I had some ideas that, oh, maybe it'll be like dentist related, because, you know, we have an evil doctor, we have a nurse in the game. I thought, oh well, maybe they'll add an evil dentist, especially because, you know, there were skulls and stuff that you could see in the teaser, so I thought maybe skulls had to do with teeth and bones and all that. But then the more, obviously, I looked into it and I read the comments and whatnot, I was like, oh, okay. And then, there was like red flashing light that you could see inside the teaser trailer, inside the skull's eyes. I was like, okay, maybe it is technology related. Maybe the new killer is going to be a robot. So a lot of people went into this, I think, having the idea that this was going to be a full-on robot killer. And I think for that reason, quite a few people were disappointed, because when the actual trailer dropped, they ended up realizing, like, oh, it's not a non-human killer, which we would have liked to have seen more of. And I agree. I do think we don't have enough non-human killers in the game. I feel like we had obviously 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪𝓵 before 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪𝓵 was removed back in November of 2021, and we have the Dredge, maybe a few others, but we don't have an awful lot of non-human killers, and I think a lot of people were anticipating a robot. So I still think the cyborg concept is very interesting. I just don't really think the killer looks that creepy, but let me know down in the comments what you think about all of this. I would love to know your thoughts. I'm not too bothered by the concept. I think a cyborg killer could be pretty damn interesting. I do agree though with the people in the comments, the killer design isn't that intimidating. Hey guys, so I just wanted to quickly follow up by saying that I'm probably giving this killer a little bit too much credit. If you do continue to hear me use the term cyborg throughout this video, then please just ignore me. When I first saw the trailer, I assumed that she was binded to these mechanical devices and that she was actually, in fact, part human, part robot, but it appears that she isn't at all upon closer inspection. She appears to be a normal human being. Well, I say normal, but obviously she's not normal. She's clearly deranged. She's a psychopath, but she's just a regular human being wearing a mask with a mechanical blade attached to her sleeve. So if I continue to say that throughout the video, just please keep that in mind. She isn't actually that at all, which kind of adds to the underwhelming factor a little bit more. Just thought I'd point that out, and back to the video. I would like to see, some new cosmetics. either on release or just over time that maybe enhance the creepiness, or maybe we'll get full robot skins. We'll have to see. Obviously, we've got these two new survivors who I believe are siblings because they do share the same last name. They could even be married, I'm not sure, but they're being hunted down by drones. So from what I've read, this killer can deploy drones, and if you are picked up by that drone, you are exposed. I believe that's how this is going to work. If you're exposed, obviously the killer can then insta-down you, or you would have to obviously try and outrun the exposed timer. So I think that's how this is going to work, but it looks pretty damn interesting. I do like that they are taking a different approach. It's definitely unique. I'm not the most impressed by this trailer personally, as are many other people. It did get quite a negative reception, unfortunately, but I am more than willing to be proven wrong when it hits live servers, because the concept, in my opinion, is still pretty interesting, and I'd like to see where they go with it. So I will obviously now read on about some of the perks and the power of the killer, so it's a bit more, specific. Going over to the deadbydaylight.com website, the new killer is going to be called the Skull Merchant, and the new survivors we have got are Thalita Lyra and Renato Lyra. I hope I'm saying those correctly. For the killer, the 3 new perks are going to be Gamerfoot, Thwack, and Leverage. So I'm just going to read out what those do. So for Gamerfoot, while you are chasing the obsession, this perk activates damaging generators and destroying breakable walls and pallets, gives you a 5% haste status for 8/9/10 seconds. Whenever you hit the survivor with the total most time in chase with a basic attack, they become the obsession. So this seems pretty interesting. I do think if you pair this with other speed increasing perks, like let's say play with your food, the Myers perk, it could be quite lethal. I mean, I'm not the most knowledgeable on perks and whatnot, so I'm not going to go into too much depth. If you want more depth and nerdiness about these perks and how they could be used, then obviously feel free to check out other creators. I'm not the most knowledgeable on this, but I'm just going off of what I know. I do think that could be quite a useful perk maybe. For Thwack, after hooking a survivor, performing the breaking action on the next breakable wall or pallet will make survivors within 32 meters scream and reveal their aura for 4 seconds. Thwack is active for 45/60/75 seconds after the survivor is hooked. So that is quite a lot of time. Like, that is up to a minute or more of time that you could then go and break a breakable wall or pallet and reveal survivors' locations. That is quite lethal. Obviously, any aura revealing perks are very useful, so the fact that this is active for longer than 40 seconds after you've hooked a survivor is pretty damn good. And then finally for the killer, we have Leverage. So each time you hook a survivor, gain 1 token up to 10. When you hook a survivor, this perk activates. For each token, reduces the speed at which survivors heal by 3/4/5 seconds for 30 seconds. Yeah, those are the killer's perks. Now onto the new survivor, Thalita Lyra. We're going to read into her perks. So we have Cut Loose, Friendly Competition, and Teamwork Power of 2. So for Cut Loose, after performing a rushed vault in a chase, this perk activates. While active, your rushed vaults are silent for up to 4/5/6 seconds, and successfully performing a rushed vault during that time resets the timer. This perk goes on cooldown for 45 seconds. So there isn't really a whole lot to say about that, really. It just silences your rushed vaults. You could even pair that with Life, I think that's how you pronounce it, Life, the Fengmin perk. You could pair that and you get not only a speed boost of 150%, but you'd also get silenced vaulting, which is kind of cool. But yeah, Friendly Competition. Whenever you finish repairing a generator with at least one other survivor, this perk activates. You and other survivors who finished repairing the generator with you get 5% increased repair progress speed for 45/60/75 seconds. Survivors can only have 1 instance of this perk's ability active at once. Yeah, again, pretty good. And then finally we have Teamwork Power of 2. Whenever you finish healing another survivor, you both move 5% faster as long as you stay within 12 meters of the survivor you healed, or until one of you loses a health state. Teamwork Power of 2 can only trigger once every 180/160/140 seconds. Survivors can only be affected by 1 Teamwork Power of 2 effect at a time. As for Renato Lyra, his 3 perks are Background Player, Blood Rush, and Teamwork Collective Stealth. So for Background Player, after you unhook another survivor, break into a sprint at 150% of your normal running speed for 6 seconds and gain exhaustion for 60/50/40 seconds. This perk cannot be used while suffering from exhaustion. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. If you obviously want to have multiple sprint burst perks, like once again with Life, the Fangmin perk, you could put that on for vaulting windows, and then with unhooking, you can also go into 150% sprint bursts. And then for Blood Rush, this perk activates once you are 1 hook away from instant death. While healthy, running, and suffering from exhaustion, press the active ability button 1 to lose a health state and recover from exhaustion instantly and gain the broken broken status effect for 28/24/20 seconds. You are automatically healed from injured to healthy after 28/24/20 seconds. Being put into the dying state will cancel the healing effect. Activating Blood Rush will disable it for the remainder of the trial. This is a one-time perk, a bit like, let's say, Decisive Strike. It's one of those perks that you'll only be able to use once and it'll be deactivated for the rest of the game after that. But very interesting, the fact that you can choose to lose a health state, so you're basically injuring yourself, then being affected by broken for 20 seconds minimum or 28 seconds maximum, and in that time you can immediately lose the exhaustion status effect, then immediately heal afterwards. I think that's definitely an interesting one, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that could be used with certain builds. But finally, we have Teamwork Collective Stealth. Whenever another survivor finishes healing you, you both leave no scratch marks as long as you stay within 12 meters of the survivor who healed you, or until one of you loses a health state. Teamwork Collective Stealth can only trigger once every 180/160/140 seconds. Survivors can only be affected by one Teamwork Collective Stealth at a time. Pretty similar to the Teamwork Power of 2. Both perks require being within 12 meters, otherwise they deactivate, they become kind of useless. It's pretty good, but obviously once you leave a survivor's radius that's healed you, it loses its value a little bit, so that's unfortunate, but there could be many tweaks to these perks, so obviously nothing here is concrete. These are all still in PTB, so they could be, modified and all that, so just take all of this with a grain of salt. As for map changes, I believe they've reworked the Shelter Woods map, so they've now added the Skull Merchant's hunting camp to the center of the map, so that sounds pretty interesting. I believe Shelter Woods is the one with the large tree, if I'm not mistaken. I think the fact that they've reworked this for this chapter and they've added this, this new camp in is kind of cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what that's, like when it hits the live servers, but it sounds pretty damn good. And they've also added a visual update to the Red Forest realm, which obviously covers the Temple of Purgation and Mother's Dwelling. They've all been tweaked as well. There's been a visual update, so I don't know if it's that they've made it lighter. It doesn't really specify on the website, but it sounds pretty good. I will try and include footage as well of some of these updates from other people from the PTB, and I will be sure to link everyone's videos in the description that I use with full credit, obviously. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into the map changes. They also added a visual update to Hadi Core, so they've added visual improvements to her eyes and hair. They've adjusted the hair shape and colour to be more reflective of her lore. They've added blood to her prestige hair. They've also added a visual update to her uncommon skin makeup, and the icons and portraits for her have been updated. So for all the Hadi fans out there, they've added a few visual updates. Now for the quality of life update, we've got a map repeat prevention. So now the update improves the map selection process a bit more. So the possibility that players in a trial will see the same map as their previous trial has been reduced to near zero, as it's also unlikely that they will be sent to a recently visited map, though the likelihood will be a little higher than near zero, and this will not impact the efficiency, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, of map offerings, nor will it affect custom games. So it won't affect map offerings, it won't affect custom games, but if by coincidence you were to get onto a map you've already been on, they're going to reduce that from happening, so that's good. It's like when I got onto Dead Dog Saloon, I don't really want to get on that twice, for example. I'd rather go on that once and then go on a different map. Sorry, I just banged my tablet against my table then, if you could hear that. They also added a loading timeout, so if any player crashes or hangs whilst loading, they'll now be able to return everyone to the tally much earlier. So instead of having to wait for ages on the loading screen when someone, disconnects or has like a loading error, it'll speed that process up a lot quicker, which is nice to know, because I hate sitting on the loading screen for sometimes up to a minute or more before it actually kicks everyone. It's, kind of annoying. So I'm happy they fixed that. They've also added a reporting players feature. Now, when you face unsportsmanlike behavior, even before a match, they've now added the option to report a player from the online lobby. I guess there are quite a lot of people on PC especially who might be toxic in the pre-game chat, so you're able to report that. As for perk changes, the Any Means Necessary perk has had its cooldown removed, and for Eruption, after kicking a generator, its aura is highlighted in yellow. Whenever a survivor enters the dying state, every affected generator explodes, losing a 10% worth of current progress and starts to regress. Any survivor repairing a generator when it explodes will scream and reveal their aura for 8/10/12 seconds. Eruption has a cooldown of 30 seconds. So from reading that, they've highlighted the generators now in yellow when you use Eruption. As for the screaming bit, I don't believe it used to reveal their aura, so now they've added that, which is pretty cool. So that will give killers even more of an an incentive to play Eruption now because it'll be more of an aura revealing perk as well. I think that's kind of a good thing personally, because I do use Eruption in quite a lot of my builds. So as for pre-game improvements, in-game improvements, killer specific improvements and audio and all that, there is quite a lot. You guys can go and check out the link in the description and read that for yourself, because there is a lot of stuff there and I'll be here all day if I read all of that. But that is all the info from the website. Now we're going to be looking at the D-Strike YouTube channel, so obviously credit to this guy. But we're going to look at the Skull Merchant's Mori, so I'm going to play that for you guys now. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. Personally, I don't really care for this Mori very much. I hate having to say that, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. I just think it's very short. It wasn't very climactic. I didn't really feel anything watching it. Not that I should necessarily feel anything watching a survivor be murdered, but I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but the Mori just doesn't look that cool in my opinion. I really hope they change this, because the killer just picks up the survivor, stabs him from the back. Obviously there's a little scanny thing with the drone. I don't know. I'm personally not a fan of the Mori. Obviously it's still in the PTB, so I don't know if they'll change that, but that's what that looks like basically if you're interested. The new killer's ability is called Eyes in the Sky. So it's inspired by the dark mangas created by her father. The Skull Merchant relentlessly hunts her prey using the latest in surveillance technology. I didn't realize they were going to mix manga in here, but anyway. The Skull Merchant starts the trial with 4 drones. Pressing the power button places a drone which enters active mode after a short boot up period. In this mode, the drone creates a detection zone around itself. Within it, the killer is undetectable and survivors gain lock-on progress. The drone reverts to scouting mode when no survivor is detected for a while. In scouting mode, the drone begins a sweeping scan, and if it finds a survivor, it re-enters active mode. Survivors can interact with the drone to disable it. If they fail, it enters active mode. If they succeed, it returns to the killer, but the survivor is stuck with a claw trap. So the first special effect is claw trap. So a claw trap broadcasts the survivor's location to the killer until its battery dies. If they get too close to a drone, it enters active mode and the claw trap's battery is recharged. The killer can press the active ability button to open a radar to see the locations of survivors with claw traps and those in a detection zone. And the second special effect is lock-on. So when full, the survivor is revealed by killer instinct while inside a drone's detection zone and suffers from the exposed status effect until the meter discharges or they are put into the dying state. I was completely correct. So if you are obviously detected by one of these drones, you become exposed, which is quite a scary thing, because when you become exposed in a Dead by Daylight match, it takes a good 20-30 seconds from what I remember. I'm not the best with numbers, guys, so just take that with a grain of salt, but you are exposed for quite a while. You're obviously insta-down, which is what I suspected would be the outcome of her ability, and I've got to say that's quite menacing, despite her actual looks not being very menacing. But the only thing I'm still wondering is, you know, what is the detection zone? Like, what is the radius that this thing operates at? Because I don't know if that varies depending on how high you can place the drone. You know, is there a height limit? There has to be a height limit, surely, before it either shuts off or it hits some kind of invisible barrier. But second of all, you know, what is the detection zone? Is it 8 meters? Is it less than that? Is it more than that? Obviously, if you've played the PTB though, let me know in the comments if you have insight into any of that, because I do not know as of currently. But yeah, definitely not something I would have expected in Dead by Daylight, and I don't mean that in a negative way, by the way. I just mean that when I first saw the trailer, I actually thought it was kind of more reminiscent of a potential device or gadget for a Rainbow Six Siege operator as opposed to a Dead by Daylight killer. So yeah, it's definitely different. But yeah, we're now going to be taking a look at the DVD Leaks YouTube channel, so I will be linking their channel down below. I'm going to look at the Skull Merchant's chase music, which I haven't seen yet, so this is going to be new to me as well, but hopefully this sounds cool. So first and foremost, we have the 32 meters, the layer 1, so let's take a listen to that. We then have layer 2, which is 16 meters. Then next up we have layer 3, which is the 8 meters. And then finally, we have the chase music. So here it is. So yeah, for me, I really like the build-up in the first 2 layers. I think it's very ominous and very creepy. Her 32 meters is probably my favorite. I just like how intense it sounds and just eerie. Then obviously we have the 16 meters, which I like as well. I think it's definitely good and it leads off well from the 32 meters. So I really like those 2 quite a bit. When it gets to the 8 meters and the chase music though, I can't say I'm really too interested. I'm not a huge fan. I do like the chase music a little bit more than the 8 meters, but all in all, the 8 meters and the chase music just doesn't sound that creepy in my opinion, and I honestly prefer the 32 and the 16 meters way more. I don't feel like they're going to change a whole lot from the PTB. It's usually just little tweaks to, like, you know, perks and stuff like that. As far as the chase music goes, I have to say my favorite parts are probably just the first 2 layers of music. After that, the chase and the 8 meters, I'm not really a huge fan, I've got to be honest, but maybe they'll change the chase music. I'm hoping they will, because I'm not too fond on it, honestly. Yeah, that's basically all I have to show you in this video, guys. I'm sorry that I'm not able to obviously play the PTB. I'm sure you can find lots of videos from other creators testing it out. You could even go on yourself, obviously. I've got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed with some things, but I'm hoping that they will be fixed or changed, you know, by the time it reaches the live servers. And if they don't change them, then that sucks ass, I suppose, but what can you do about it? I do really hope that they either tweak the design or they add more skins that enhance the killer's look, because I gotta be honest, the killer does not look creepy at all, and I think a lot of you will agree with me on that. This video is probably going to end up being very long, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to edit out of this to try and cut it down a bit for more digestible length of content, because I don't want it to be extremely long. But let me know down in the comments what you think about this chapter. I know it's not actually dropped yet, but what do you guys think? You know, if you've been onto the PTB, let me know what you think about it. I love conversing with you guys. I love to hear what you all think about stuff and where you might agree and disagree on certain things. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like down below. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe. I am trying to reach 500 subscribers, so if you guys can help me get there, that would be absolutely awesome. And don't forget to hit the bell icon down below so you never miss a single video I post. And I shall see you all in my next video. Goodbye.